Aruhiba presents the making of Aruban cigars. The whole process of making cigars starts off with the seed. The seeds we use to cultivate the first Aruhiba tobacco plants came from Cuba, the Dominican Republic, Haiti, the Philippines, amongst others. Of course, we also use the ones our grandparents used for medicine too. Our first tryout was in 1999, and since then we decided to cultivate so we can have our own seeds, even though they were originally from Cuba. Sun-grown tobacco. Flavor grows in the open sunlight. The Aruban sunlight works the magic to bring out the flavor in the sun plants that supply the fillers, leaves, and binders. Tobacco plants flourish in the loosest possible soil, so the soil should not be compacted. Seeds are grown in special beddings. After 45 days, when the seedlings reach a height of 13 to 15 centimeters, they are ready to be replanted. Some 18 to 20 days after planting out, the soil is banked up around the base of the plant to promote the development of strong roots. As each plant reaches the desired height, the top bud is removed to concentrate growth on the development of larger leaves. Removing the top bud causes an explosion of side shoots. The farmer must make repeated visits to each plant to remove them. Around 40 days after planting out, the harvest can begin. A laborious task because each leaf must be picked by hand. Only 2 or 3 leaves can be taken at a time, with days to wait between each picking. The harvesting of a single plant takes close to 30 days to complete. Curing. The first process for the newly harvested leaf, on which the success of the whole crop depends, is a slow and careful period of air curing which removes moisture and turns the leaf by stages to golden brown. We do the curing in the traditional manner in traditional curing barns that depend entirely on the natural effects of our climate. The leaves are sewn in pairs and hung on rocks in the barns. As the leaf cures, we have to change their position in the barn. Ventilation and light must be constantly adjusted to allow for natural variations in temperature and humidity. Sometimes there are unpredictable conditions in the barn, but that is nature on itself at work. Once the leaf is cured, the farmer's job is done and the task passes over to the fermentation, sorting, and rolling. Fermentation. The cured leaves are tied in bunches and placed in cloth-covered piles and undergo an entirely natural process of fermentation, triggered by the moisture in the leaf. Fermentation is essential to the smoking quality of the cigar. It sweats out impurities in the leaf. It smooths the flavor of the filler leaves and evens out the color of the wrapper. Leaves that were grown higher up in the plant need a longer period of fermentation because they are thicker and richer in oils. Sorting. It is now the right time for the leaves to be sorted for the roles they will play in the making of the cigar. Size, color, and texture are the 3 criteria that guide us. As you might expect, wrappers get the closest attention. First, they are moistened and aired to prepare them for handling. Once sorted and rested, the wrapper leaves needs only 1 fermentation and are ready to pack in bales, like fine wines. Stripping. The sorted filler and binder leaf is now at the first process, moistening that makes them pliable for the stripping and supplies. The moisture that will drive the second fermentation, we strip out the lower portion of the stem in each leaf. Second fermentation process. Filler and binder are now fermented for the second time. Once again, the thicker leaves get a longer fermentation. The leaf is now ready. Excess droplets are shaken off to avoid any staining and the leaves are hung on racks overnight so the moisture is absorbed evenly the next morning. The next morning, we start with the removing of the central vein of the leaf, leaving its 2 halves ready to be graded into sizes and shades. Hand-making cigars. For tools, we do have wooden boards, cutters, a guillotine, a pot of colorless and flavorless natural gum, a template to check length, and the skill of our fingers. Time to rest. Between making and packing, the cigars are put in cedar cases. Here they are left to rest while they shed the excess moisture that was gained in the rolling process. After a week, the cigar becomes smokable, but the longer they stay, the better they will be. They have to be kept at 16 to 18 degrees Celsius and 65 to 70 humidity. Colors. Depending on the climate, we get different shades in the leaves. The color is purely natural. Things to remember. The filler is for the flavor. The binder is for structure. The wrapper is to delight the eye. The leaf will be trimmed, paying attention to the edge that will be seen at the finished cigar. The bunch is laid on the wrapper and rolled, starting at the cigar's foot with the tip of the wrapper leaf. The leaf is carefully stretched and straightened as the bunch takes up the wrapper. The tension in the leaf has to be perfect. Next comes the cap. First, the section called the flag is cut from the spare wrapper leaf. It is then wound around the head to close the open end and secure the wrapper. To add the finishing touch, a small disc of the wrapper is cut out with the casquillo and secured on the head with vegetable gum. Finally, the cigar is guillotined to length and the work is complete. We put on our Aruhiba label, cellophane them, and put in wooden Aruhiba boxes ready to sell. This is our authentic Aruban cigar, Aruhiba.